Question number 1. In the first section of the poem, lines 1 through 12, the speaker seeks to convey a feeling of what? The first question asks you to identify the feeling that the speaker is attempting to convey to you, the reader. First, listen to the first 12 lines of the poem. My pensive Sarah, thy soft cheek reclined thus on mine arm, most soothing sweet it is to sit beside our cot o'ergrown with white flowered jasmine and the broad-leaved myrtle, meet emblems they of innocence and love, and watch the clouds that late were rich with light, slow saddening round, and mark the star of eve, serenely brilliant, such would wisdom be, shine opposite. How exquisite the sense snatched from yon bean field, and the world so hushed, the stilly murmur of the distant sea tells us of silence. When we talk about the feeling that the speaker in a poem wants to elicit in the reader, we're talking about tone and mood, which are both literary terms. Tone is the author's attitude toward the subject, and mood is that feeling that the author creates in you, the reader. One of the tools that poets use to convey both tone and mood is diction. That's another literary term, and it refers to word choice. Look at the words the poet has chosen. Pensive, reclined, soft, soothing, sweet, innocent, serenely, hushed, murmur, silence. These are calming, relaxing words. Notice that the couple are watching the clouds, and Sarah is leaning her cheek against the speaker's arm. Also, notice how the poet has chosen to use alliteration. The S sound is repeated throughout the poem. Pensive Sarah, soft, most soothing, sweet, slow, saddening, stilly murmur of the distant sea tells us of silence. All that s and sh is calming, soothing. You could almost hear the waves murmuring in the distance. Now, let's look at the answer choices. Foreboding. Foreboding means a sense of fear, and we don't get that from the poem. No one seems to be afraid, and there's nothing dangerous going on. Remoteness. This refers to being removed from others or alone. The speaker and Sarah are together, so they're not alone or lonely. Curiosity. There's nothing in these 12 lines to indicate that anyone is curious about anything, so no. D. Resignation. This implies a willingness to put up with things the way they are without really being happy about it. The speaker doesn't seem to be just resigned to have to hang out with Sarah. Actually, he seems quite happy about it, or content. And that brings us to the correct answer, E, contentment, which is the state of being happy or satisfied with the way things are. Question number 2. In context, saddening in line 7 suggests that the what? If we refer back to the poem, we can see that the poet is saying how sweet it is to sit with Sarah and watch the clouds that were late were rich with light, slow saddening round. So the clouds are what are slow saddening, which leads us to see the clouds have become darker as the correct response. But let's look at the rest of the responses to see that we can eliminate them. A, the security of the couple will be threatened. There's nothing to suggest that their security is or will be threatened. There's nothing dangerous or threatening mentioned here, so no. B, the speaker is increasingly melancholy. We've already seen in the last question that the speaker is content. Nothing has happened to disturb that. He's with Sarah and he's glad to be there. And anyway, we can see from the sentence structure that the clouds are what are slow saddening, not the speaker. So eliminate B. D, prospect of night vexes the speaker. There's nothing to indicate that the speaker is becoming annoyed or frustrated or worried that night is approaching, so cross out D. E, happiness of the speaker will fade. There's nothing to suggest this either. We've already seen that the speaker is content or happy with the way things are, and there isn't anything about the clouds slow saddening to suggest that's going to change. Looking back at choice C and thinking about the word saddening, we know that this word is sometimes metaphorically associated with darkness, and we know that night is coming because the speaker mentions that they can now see the star of eve, and the clouds late or lately rich with light would be getting darker as night falls. So C, clouds have become darker, is certainly the correct response. Question number 3. The speaker gives symbolic significance to which of the following? Here we have another literary term, symbolic, and we're asked to choose 1, 2, 3, or 4, or some combination of those. So we're looking at things that are symbols. The words in question are jasmine, myrtle, star, and sea. So let's look around each of these words. For jasmine and myrtle, the speaker says that they're emblems of innocence and love, so we know right away that these are both symbolic. For star, the star is serenely brilliant, and the speaker wishes that wisdom were the same way, so he's proposing symbolism for the star. Finally, for C, he's talking only about the literal sea. The speaker says that the area is so quiet that they can hear the murmur of the sea in the distance. So the correct response is C, 1, 2, and 3 only, because jasmine, myrtle, and star all have symbolic associations, and the sea in this context does not. Question number 4, lines 11 and 12. The through the word silence are best understood to mean which of the following? So the lines in question read, the stilly murmur of the distant sea tells us of silence. So let's look at the answers. A, we're in a quiet place, but the sea, however distant, is at least not silent. This doesn't make sense in the context of the lines because the speaker says that the murmur of the sea is telling us of silence, and this answer contradicts that by saying that the sea is telling them of its noise by emphasizing that it isn't silent. So eliminate A. B, the silence is such that even the sea itself is aware of it. This might be a tempting answer since the sea is telling the speaker and Sarah something, which is personification, but this answer doesn't really make sense. First of all, we don't have an indication that the sea is aware, and also the sea itself isn't silent. Remember that the sea is distant, and they can hear the murmur of the sea all the way from where they are, so where the sea actually is, a long way off or distant, isn't silent because of the sea itself. So this isn't the best answer. C, the silence of the sea speaks more forcefully than words can of the hushed world around us. No, this can't be correct because the sea isn't silent. It's murmuring. Cross out C. D, even the gentle murmuring of the sea is fading into silence. No, the lines don't say that the sea is fading into silence. It murmurs and it tells us of silence, but there's nothing to make us think that the sound of the sea is fading away, so eliminate D. E, the fact that we can just hear the far-off sea shows how quiet our surroundings are. This makes the most sense. The murmur of the sea, or the fact that they can hear it at such a distance, tells them that it's really quiet where they are. So in this way, the murmur of the sea is telling them of silence. E is the correct response. Question number 5. In lines 14 to 15, the breeze is compared to what? This is a question where you really just need to read carefully and follow the grammatical structure of the thought here. So in order to do that, we're going to read the 2 preceding lines along with the lines in question. And that simplest lute placed lengthwise in the clasping casement, hark. And this means or listen. And note that this isn't really the end of the sentence. The speaker has inserted this exclamation to listen into the middle of this thought, and then he continues on, how by the desultory breeze caressed, like some coy maid half yielding to her lover. If we break the sentence down and eliminate the extra descriptive information, we see, and that lute, how by the desultory breeze caressed, like some coy maid half yielding to her lover. So the lute is what's being caressed by the breeze, like some coy maid half yielding to her lover. The lute is being compared to the maid, and the maid is yielding to her lover. Since the breeze is what's caressing the lute, or the maid, we know that the breeze is the lover. So the correct answer is E, a lover.